All right, let's do coffee 101. Today's subject, the French press. French press is what's called an immersion brewer. That means all the water and all the coffee gets together in the middle here. It all steeps together, and then you press the coffee down or you filter it out somehow, and you have all the water afterwards. This is different from a percolation brew, which is like a pour over where the water is passing through the coffee, but is never staying with it all the time. An immersion brewer, coffee stays with the water all the time. Now there's two different recipes we're gonna do for a French press today. There's the easy recipe, and then there's the pain in the ass recipe. They're basically both the same thing. And the only difference between one and the other is whether you have one of these. This is a coffee scale or any kind of kitchen scale that measures down to about a gram. So let's get going. So 25 grams of coffee, which is about a third of a cup. It's a little bit less than a third of a cup. And it's gonna be highly dependent on how dark your roast is. A darker roast will fill up a third of a cup entirely. A lighter roast will leave a little bit of space in there. And then enough water to fill your favorite coffee mug. A coffee mug is usually anywhere between 350 to 400 mils. This is again gonna be highly dependent on the size of your mug. If you have a big one, if you have a small one. This guy's about 350 mils. So that's how much water I wanna put in here, plus a little bit more. Again, the scale makes this super easy. And then we start the timer and we wait. And you wait for 8 minutes. There's actually something weird about immersion brews where the longer you wait, the better they get. It's really hard to hit a point of over extraction or like bad coffee when you're making a French press or an immersion brew. It's just one of the magical properties of this damn machine. So about halfway through, so I forgot to mention, about halfway through at about the 4-minute time, take a spoon and just break that crust of coffee sitting on top. Just give it all a push down because you got a bunch of floaty stuff on top here that really, you wanna get it into the bottom. You wanna let it settle down to the bottom. There we go. 4 more minutes to go. Okay, so our time's up. Let's get the scale out the way. You never press on the scale. So then we put the lid on. And now we got two choices. Choice number one, you press all the way to the bottom. You disturb that coffee bed that's down there, so you get a few more fines in your cup, but that's totally fine. The big stuff will stay in the bottom. Or you just push right there, just so the filter is right at the surface of the coffee. And that way when you pour, all the finest stuff will probably stay in the bottom and you'll be left with nothing but a nice clean French press at the top. That's what I do. And then we just pour nice and gently. And it's a good idea with a French press to not pour right to the dregs, to always leave a little bit in the bottom, because that's the siltiest stuff. And that's it. That's all there is to it. You've passed today's lesson. Go make yourself a beautiful cup of coffee.